It's a new era of White Oak football, and we're here to talk about it. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the inaugural White Oak Coaches Show on S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. Each and every week, I'll be talking to the head coach of the Roughnecks, Coach Michael Ludlow, about the ongoing program. Basically, if you've never listened to one of my coaches' shows, it's a review preview. We'll review last week, preview the week that is, and just do that through the season. Of course, this week will mainly be just kind of talking about laying that foundation down that Coach Ludlow is doing for White Oak. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the first game of the year against the Troop Tigers. Man, it's already here. Say it every year, but it gets around quicker and quicker, and love it. I love this time of year. It's for me, I'm saying this when it's 100 and 400 degrees outside. I said 100, 400. I mean 104 degrees outside. But this is like Christmas between now and actual Christmas. I love football. I love all things football. That's why I do this for a living. I talk high school football, college, and pro, all because this is what I love to do. And this week is one of my favorite weeks. And to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to this show. I am curious to see where the growth of White Oak goes this year. I think it's young. I think there's a lot of promise, but I think a really tough schedule and a really solid, tough district is going to, put up a lot of barricades for this Roughneck team. It's going to be fun to see how they're able to navigate them. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will be joined by the head coach of the Roughnecks, Coach Michael Ludlow, right here on the White Oak Roughneck Football Show on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at L4FRclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Terry Bennett back here on the White Oak Coaches Show, right here on the S2S Sports Network. Now joined by the new head coach of the Roughnecks, Coach Michael Ludlow. Coach, you and I talked during coaches school, and we joked about you hadn't even really got to know your team yet. Now we're on the beginning of the season. You've got to know your team. What are your thoughts coming into the season?
Well, man, it's been a pleasure getting to know them because we got a really cool group of kids right now, and we're very youthful. We all knew that coming in, We're very youthful. Even our seniors didn't have a whole lot of varsity experience. So we kind of got to know each other personality-wise and everything else and started fitting this thing together. And what we've got, man, we got a group of kids that really love playing the game. They care about each other. It's kind of excited to see we're excited to see the progress we've made, especially from that first scrimmage to the second. But just the way they sink their teeth into everything, man, and they just want to make sure it's not done where it's just right, man. It's done with some enthusiasm. It's done with some energy, and they're really starting to take care of each other pretty well.
Offensively, what are you looking to do this year?
We're a power spread offense is what we call it, and we're up tempo. We move the ball pretty quickly. We got rolling last week a little bit in the scrimmage, and our kids saw what pace can do to someone. We don't mind taking shots down the field. We RPO a lot with our run game. We want to make you defend all 53 and 30 yards and 120 long when you get to the back of those end zones.
You talk about that pace, and especially right now, the first month, and heck, sometimes it's the first 2 months of the season with the heat. That's a good chance to wear defenses down.
Oh, 100%. And that's where we're a morning practice team, and everyone's like, well, how are you getting acclimated? It's 80-something in the morning, it's 105 in the afternoon. Well, people tend to forget the fact that, that heat in the afternoon doesn't necessarily raise your heart rate. What raises your heart rate is that activity and that movement, and so in the mornings we're going for long periods of time with that heart rate elevated and rolling, and we've gone through we've gone through 2 scrimmages now where we haven't had one kid miss a snap due to cramps. Knock on wood. That may bite me on Friday, saying that now, but through 2 scrimmages, we haven't had one kid have to miss a snap because of cramps. And, this past scrimmage, like I said, we played with some pretty good pace. So we've been very pleased with our kids getting out there and getting after it. And we think it's we think that weather and all is kind of an equalizer for us. It hasn't really bothered us.
All right, well, let's talk about your first opponent. That is the Troop Tigers. Now, explain to me, as a new coach at a new program, how much do you go back and look at last year's game film against this team?
So we go back and take a peek and just see kind of, their personnel, their people, where they were at last year, the ones they got returning, kind of where their growth areas were. Did they address those growth areas when we compare it to scrimmage tape? We'll take a peek at that stuff, but we're really going to lock in with what's coming this year, because everybody's a little bit different in scheme from year to year, as they move it around to fit their personnel and their kids for that year. But we do take a look at it. We go back through it and kind of see where it came from to where it is now.
And talking about Troop, Coach Sam Wells over there, they feel they have a team that could be pretty special this year. They have a ton coming back.
Yeah, I know. Well, it seems like that's going to be a constant on our schedule. I think everybody we play pretty much returns their whole team. So we get to looking at that, and he's got a really good squad coming back. Trey Davis is the truth, man. He's really good. He's really, really good. He's not one of those kids that just looks the part. Like he is the part. He plays it too. They got the big tight end, defensive end. I mean, you can't coach 6'5", 230. He's a big old joker. And they've got an inside backer who's got a stinking motor on him, and he can move, he can go. They're physical on the interior D-line. They do a good job of moving Trey around and getting the ball on offense. So the quarterback operates well. They got a really solid group coming back, man. And I think it's one of those where, just like everybody, it takes a little bit of luck sometimes to stay healthy and do some things, but they've got the pieces to be able to try to put together a little run this year, I think.
Well, you kind of brought it up. Y'all first off, you're in a really tough district in 6-3A Division I, and then who you're playing in your non-district, not only Troop, but you've got Harmony, a team a lot of people think is going to be a region favorite. And I know you want to answer that, hey, we want to be 16-0 and we want to win state. But for you, laying down the foundation with a young team, what is a successful season for you?
Man, I think people are going to measure success a million different ways, and everyone's going to be able to measure success in their own mind. But right now, I think we've seen a big mindset shift from week one scrimmage to week 2 scrimmage. Right now, we concentrate on we have a so what next play mentality, and we're kind of that way about our opponents too, man. Let's look at the next play, the next snap, the next thing we can take hold of, because it's really, we can't do anything else about anything else right now except for that. So for us right now, we went into that first scrimmage and we said, okay, where was our biggest fault at? Because with a young team, you're not going to be able to fix everything all at once.
Yeah.
And we looked at the physicality side of things and just the wide-eyed, not being used to that style of play after that first week. And, man, we got really, really, really physical and really honed in on transitions and things like that going into week 2. And we saw it pay off. Our physicality went up, our pace of play went up, and we addressed those things. Coming out of that second scrimmage, we had a specific on defense and a specific on offense that we hit. And we've done a really good job, as far as meaning our kids have done a really good job of making sure they address that with what we've done and what we've offered the opportunity for in practice this week. And I think each week, as we find what it is with this young team that we're still getting to know a little bit, as each week comes along, when we can bear down on what we really have to correct and make a habit out of. So what we've corrected the week before turns into a habit. What we have to correct now turns into an opportunity. So we really see honing in on those type of things and making that progress from week to week as being successful, because we got a set of kids right now that man, we've got some ability. We've got some ability. We've just got a lot of young ability. And if we can hone that in each single week, then we're going to stack those bricks up, build a solid foundation, and have this nice little house built by the end of the year there.
Well, and I've always been told that for a new coach going into a program, the first thing is getting the trust of the players. And you see the trust of the players when the players actually go, okay, what they coached me, if I just do that, we can be successful. Are you seeing that?
Absolutely, man. They are. They're buying everything that we're selling, because they know that what we're selling has their best interest in mind, and we everything we do together, all the way down to our strength conditioning program. With it doesn't matter if you're in football or not right now. Like we're all in there working out together. We're all going through things together. We're grinding together, being together, and and we're trusting each other, So those kids, we've even, like, I'll say it like this: the real standards in a program don't come from the coaches, right? Like, we set the expectations, we set the bar for what is expected, and they know we're going to get on them about it. But the thing is when you start seeing kids and how they hold each other accountable, that's where the real standards come from. We set the expectations. They hold the real standards of what they'll allow their teammates to do, say, work like, be like, how they operate in the classroom, the community, the locker room. Like, they hold the real standards. They hold the key to it. And our kids have already developed core values for our program. Like, they voted on them. They came up with them. They're going to be voting here this week on their core value captains. I mean, we've got them out down to days of the week. Like, they wanted attack on Monday. They wanted juice on Tuesday. They wanted family on Wednesday. They wanted nasty on Thursday. And then right now, payday is Friday. We take care of all our other stuff, and it's payday. So they're taking ownership in the program already and understanding that it's going to take every single one of us, and everybody's going to have a role to play. And they're coming down to it together and kind of starting to come together pretty well right now. We're pretty pleased with that.
Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at L4FRclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. As always, I do want to thank the head coach of the Roughnecks, Coach Michael Ludlow, for joining us here, as he will be each and every week here on the White Oak Roughneck Football Coaches Show. This is a good test. Troop, I think, is going to be a really salty team this year. They return a ton back, and as he was talking about the talent on that team, and also just the age, the experience. The biggest issue for White Oak or any team that's going to be starting a lot of sophomores is it's not just game experience. It's not just, athletic ability. It's just pure maturing. The difference between a sophomore and a senior, a lot of times that's when a lot of these players, that's when a lot of just kids make that growth spurt, that final growth spurt. And so you see that on the field. So there's going to be times where it might look like it's, getting outmatched, but hey, that's part of that growth, football-wise and physically. And you start laying down that experience now, and by the time they're seniors, you have a chance to have something really, really special. And I think that White Oak could be that way. But you never know. That's the fun part of all this, is we get to see how this plays out, and you'll get to see it every week here on the show. Now, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, email them to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. Now, I do not promise that they will all be asked to the coach. A lot of times it just depends on what the question is and if it's pertinent to what we're talking about. But if I like the question, we definitely will ask Coach Ludlow about that. If you'd like to be a sponsor of this show, get a hold of me again, Terry at S2SSport.com. This episode is brought to you by the White Oak Booster Clubs. All right, that's going to do it. We'll talk next week about Troop. Also, week 2 at Harmony. Another tough game, folks, man. White Oak does not have an easy non-district schedule. Until then, I'm Terry Bennett, and this has been the White Oak Roughneck Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.